Hello, hello. What's up, everyone? Make sure I get the light looking good here. Give me a thumbs up if you can see me, if you can hear me, all that good stuff. I think everything should be good to go. I see some familiar faces in here right now, so it is good to see some repeat offenders in the live chat. I got a lot of people here to say what's up to. DC says he digs the intro. Yeah, it's a little dramatic there. That was an experiment for the Whiskey Awards, and I kind of left it, and I just thought that would be a cool thing to leave on some of these videos. But the 2-minute countdown, I do that as a buffer because sometimes I don't have things like ready to go. But now that I am being a little more responsible here, I don't think I need all that buffer time. So what is up, everybody? Hey, Mr. Mabry, I'm assuming that is Austin from right here in Columbus, Ohio. What's up, man? How's it going? I've got some people to say hey to. DC pre-gamers mount up. That's funny. Little hype. Lone Wanderer. What's up? How you doing? Shane Long. Who else we got in here? Had to fast all day, then have a blood draw. Make for a cheap date. That's funny. I got a little. Well, the other night I got a little story to tell you guys about that. Cheers to all of you. Let's see what we got. I don't know if that's some sort of weird emoji. That's my dad. My dad is in here. So, uh-oh, I'm gonna be drinking in front of my dad. That's not always good. So what's up, everybody? I've got some good stuff planned for this evening on the live stream. We're gonna be doing another sort of 3-part live tasting event, if you want to call it that. The first part of the evening is going to be taking a look at the Daviess County line here from Lux Row. And I figured it would be a good night to do that because of the recent announcement of MGP essentially buying or, merging the merger with Lux Row. So they're going to be acquiring all of the brands from Lux Row, and this Daviess County line, which was just recently resurrected, is going to be included in that. So, I figured it would be a good night to check these out. I've only had really 1 pour from each of these and maybe 2 pours from this particular bottling from them. So I'm pretty new to this stuff, and I wanted to taste all of it live for you guys. Dad says he can't find the thumbs up. Adult supervision. Oh, no. Who's that? Oh, Cheech, what's up? What's up, man? Cheers to you. I actually don't have anything poured yet, so let me go ahead and just, why don't we have something a little bit more adventurous? I'll take it out of this sample bottle here, which is an old, non-age dated Elijah Craig small batch from 2015. So I'm going to have a little pour of that. So I'm going to say cheers to all of you guys. Let me know what you're sipping on in the live chat. The older Elijah Craig stuff is so amazing. So cheers to all of you, and let's have a good night. Beats the heck out of today's bottlings, I think. DC says, sup, homie Cheech. We got some drummers in the house. Daniel, hey, how's it going? Shipment is officially in Ohio. Should arrive tomorrow. I'm so excited for those samples. For all of you in the chat, Daniel's sending me another store pick of Weller Foolproof. We traded some Foolproof samples and some other things as well. Old Booker's batches, Russell Pick, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be taking a look at a lot of those samples that have come in over the last few weeks on some upcoming live streams. I'm going to look at a few of them tonight. I've got some of those in the works, but this entire army of samples, I'm going to be trying to get through these things on the next 2 or 3 live streams. So 1 sip per hour, my dad said. He's supervising. That's not good. Wild Turkey 101 to kick it off. What's up, HBR? Chris is in the house. Good to see you, man. Cheers to you. Little blackened going on there. Haven't had that one yet. Evan Williams Single Barrel Vintage. Good bottle under 30. Yes, it is. Good amount of oak on that for an 8-year product, which I really like. And Russell's 10-year to get started, says Cheech. The Russell's 10-year for me is a sleeper bottle. At $30, I would put that up against just about anything in that price range, and $20 higher than $30. I mean, for me, the proof is a little low, but the amount of like oak funk you get on there and full flavor profile, even if it's a little bit watery, man, I love that Russell's 10. I'm telling you. Yeah, good to see you, man. Cheers. Rick says, Knob Creek Barrel Select 120 proof store pick sipper. Those are good ones, especially if you get a store pick. Maybe get a little bit of that peanut out of there, you know. I'm not a big fan of the Knob Creek. I'm not a big fan of the Jim Beam peanut, I've got to say. Enjoyed the stream last night. Finished. All right, guys. Well, like I said, first thing we're going to be doing tonight, taking a look at the Daviess County line. Not Daviess County. I've been corrected. It is Daviess County, as they say. Then the second part of the evening is going to be another blind flight like I did last week. Not going to be nearly as big. I have 3 blacked out Glencairns with blind pours here and the names of the pours on note cards right here that are flipped over. So again, as you all know by this point, my fiance Sarah, it does a tricky job of doing these blind pours for me. So I'm excited to be taking a look at 3 blind pours, and then I'm going to wrap the night up. I have 3 samples here, and I don't know if Lito is in the house right now or not. I don't believe he is. But Lito sent in a few samples here, some amazing Scotch samples, and I cannot wait to try them. Probably the coolest one is a Cutty Sark from the 1970s, so that's pretty neat. And I'm going to compare that next to today's swill that is Cutty Sark. And then I've got a Longmorn 11-year and a Longrow Red 11-year Pinot Noir finish. So a couple of really awesome Scotch samples that were sent in. So I'm excited about that. DC says the Longrow 11 sounds intriguing. Oh, yeah. The Pinot finish was 2019's release. I believe they do 1 Longrow Red per year. Usually spends about like 8 to 10 years in like an ex-bourbon cask. And then I think it gets transferred over to some sort of red wine finish for usually around 3 years. And apparently the Pinot Noir was an epic batch, 53.1%. So I love Campbelltown stuff. Longrow is obviously more peated than Springbank. So, yeah, I'm really stoked about that. Then this Longmorn 11-year is an independent bottling, 58.1, so cask strength on that one. So that's going to be sweet. Very excited. God, so good to see so many of you in the house tonight. Anthony's drinking Wild Turkey Rare Breed to get the evening going. I'm out of Rare Breed. I need to get another one of those. So, for all of you that are here that checked out Scott's stream, My Bourbon Journey on Tuesday night, I got a little slammered on that stream, and it was not very flattering. So, don't go watch that back. I was just saying things that didn't even make any sense. I wasn't being funny. It was like I watched it back, and I just did one of these, you know. It was horrifying. I woke up the next day in bed, thankfully. But this room was a mess. I had clearly knocked a few things off my table. I started Tuesday night at Jason's house, the Mash and Drum, and had some amazing pours with Jason that night. And then, you know, got home, kept drinking like an idiot. Then I jumped on Scott's stream, kept drinking, and it was game over from there. So yesterday was a recovery day, and I think I'm good to do this live stream tonight now. But it was rough. It was a blast. But if you look at the end of the video, Chris, I was like, we were doing like a final toast or whatever, holding our glasses up, and I was just swaying in my chair. And that symbol on the wall back there was off the wall when I went to bed. So thankfully that didn't fall on the live stream, but definitely fell afterwards. All right. So again, cheers to all of you in the chat. I'm going to finish this last little sip here of this old school Elijah Craig, just to get things going. I'm going to be doing that in an upcoming video here. A little bit of the current day non-age stated small batch from Elijah Craig up against the old school non-age stated small batch right after they took the 12-year age statement away, just to kind of see what that comparison's like. So, yeah, HBR, your new logo is freaking awesome, man. I'm serious. It's so cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Let's take a look at some of this Daviess County stuff. Have any of you in the chat had a chance to try this yet? I'd be curious. Let me know your thoughts. I'm not doing this blind because I want to get my honest opinion, but in context. I think it's important for this flight to have a little bit of context here with knowing, you know, what the finishes are that I'm tasting, because we have 2 different finishes along with the, you know, the base spirit here, or the standard offering. All right, get this final pour. Oh my gosh, is the bourbon wrench in the house? Holy smokes. What's up, Trev? Hey, good to see you, man. We are now Instagram followers and followees of each other. Negative. Never heard of. So yeah, Daviess County is spelled like Daviess County, but I believe it's pronounced Davis County, from what I can tell. Just like Rowan's Creek is actually Rowan's Creek. Doesn't look like a lot of people have tried this one. So yeah, this is a new release from Lux Row, who obviously is recently acquired by MGP. So we're going to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with this blue bottle, which is the Daviess County straight up, sour mash, straight bourbon whiskey. Doesn't say Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. What we have here is 96 proof, 48% ABV, and this is a blend of rye and wheated mash bills. So it is a 4-grain mash, but blended 4-grain. It's not, it is not a 4-grain mash bill in and of itself. So none of these have any age statements on them. We have the standard bottling. They all come in at 96 proof. We also have a French oak finish, and we have a Cabernet finish, which, I'm excited about trying these wine finished variations of this, but, we'll kind of see what these things are like. Is it Lux Row Distillery? I'm not sure. I don't believe it is. I think this stuff is sourced from what I could tell, but it's not anything that the distillery has disclosed, or that like anybody on any, Breaking Bourbon or anybody like that. They all say that it's, undisclosed, possibly sourced. So I'm not sure. Someone in the chat might have more inside info than I do, but I'm not entirely sure here. Yeah. So right away, like I said, this is a blend of wheated mash bills and rye mash bills, or wheated mash bill, rye mash bill in the singular. A lot of good honey right up front. Probably from that wheated mash bill. And it's a little bit young. Smells a little bit young here. Yeah, lots of honey and vanilla on this. Not really like anything deep and rich about it. It's pretty on the surface, for 96 proof, kind of to be expected that it's a little bit lighter here. Interesting. Aiden, what's up, man? Fashionably late. That's okay. That's okay. We got 21 in the chat. That's amazing. I don't even have YouTube pulled up. I don't even know how many likes we have on the video, but if you haven't liked the video, please like the video. Let's get some more people in here. Let's have a good night. Yeah, this Daviess County Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, or yeah, it is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's just labeled strangely on the bottle. I don't know why they don't say all of those words together. It is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's really light. A little bit of nuttiness in there with the honey and vanilla. Nice and sweet. And like a good amount of like richer baking spices. Not a lot of cinnamon necessarily, but like a lot of nutmeg and kind of like allspice notes. Some of those like more flavorful baking spices. That's really nice. Really easy sipper. A little bit of pepper in there. Pretty short finish, maybe medium finish, and hardly any oak going on there at all. So it's not very, dark in its flavor profile at all. Yeah, thanks, man. Yes, hit that like button. Smash that like button. I always hate that phrase. It's like such a YouTuber phrase, Smash that like button. Hit the bell notification. And if you're talking about me, no, I don't have any mods. I haven't done that yet. I don't know anything about the whole mod thing. So actually, if someone wants to give me a little tutorial on that, maybe I should maybe I should have that tutorial soon. I was at a tasting with those three, Daviess County. None of the proof to deliver the goods, at least for me. Seems like beginner whiskey. Yeah, Cheech, that's what I'm noticing right now, like right off the bat with this first one. Like, it's not the same kind of honey as Buffalo Trace by any means, but it's got that youth. It's almost got like a Yellowstone Select vibe to me, in terms of like the flavor profile of especially this first one that has no wine finishing. It's just kind of like easygoing. I would say this one probably has more of a finish than the Yellowstone Select. That one is like water. and a little more lemon zest or something citrus to me. But this one is a little more rounded out, but definitely not a huge fan of that, you know. Might be something that I just, if I'm having something I'm not even thinking about sipping, that I will pull that out and drink it, but I don't know. Oh, that's a good point. Okay, well, you know, for now, actually, I don't have a Patreon yet. I'm thinking maybe at 500 subs, I'll start a Patreon. I've got some really cool ideas for some behind the scenes things to do. But yeah, no merch, no Patreon yet. So, but maybe I should get a mod. You know, maybe that should happen soon. You're a YouTuber, make that shit happen. I guess I need to, huh? Let's see what we got here. Jay says, is it sourced whiskey? I think it's sourced, but I'm not entirely sure. Trev Wilson is your mod go-to. You'll be an excellent and very sexy hands. Trev Wilson is very sexy. I was looking at your Instagram the other day, Trev, if you're still in here, and I saw some shirtless pics, man. Trev works out, you know. I don't know. I got nothing on that. Miss Wrench says, hey, I love you too, baby. That's funny. All right, so let's go on to the French oak finish now, which is my second pour here. And this spends a couple of months. I don't think it's very long in French oak casks. So this could go a lot of different ways here in terms of like the influence that it has on this. I would expect it stays pretty light on the profile here, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure. So let's see what we get. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit fruity. Yeah, so this French oak, interestingly, it has a little bit more ethanol on the nose, and there's no proof difference, no age difference here. So that's kind of weird, but a little bit like brighter, more ethanol forward on the nose. But there's also lighter fruits in here too. Like definitely still that honey note, that vanilla note, but there almost might be some sort of like spicier, lighter, fruity notes. Almost reminds me of a Canadian rye in some ways. I don't know why. Yeah, you know, the French oak here, at least on the nose, let me go side by side. So this is the standard. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the French oak lightens it up a ton. That's actually really weird. Like, you lose any amount of caramel depth that the original bottling has, the blue label, all of that depth actually gets lost in favor of light fruits and sweeter notes. Oh, yeah, and the honey is way more forward on this French oak version. I'd say this is definitely a humongous improvement over the blue label bottle, like by a mile. Tevils used to say those filters make yourself look... Jen, cheers. What's up? Thanks for joining us, Jen. I only pretend to work out. I Photoshop on all the muscles. I'm not that good at Photoshop yet, but I'm getting there. I don't think I could do that, though. I need to get back in the gym. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been doing this keto thing. I've lost 14 pounds on this keto thing, which is pretty wild, but I need to get off my lazy ass and get in the gym. The French Oak Old Charter is an excellent pour. Yeah, this is really surprising, and I should shut up and taste it and see, you know, if it's as good as the nose. Yeah, like I said, even on the palate, you actually get more ethanol, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's got to be coming from like the additional oak, maybe adding a spice component here, like a peppery spice, white pepper almost, and because it's kind of stripping out some of the depth of flavor of the blue label bottle, not as much caramel, not as much richness in the flavor profile. It comes across as more ethanol forward, more, you know, prickly and spicy forward, which is interesting. But once you get past that, it's a really soft whiskey. The French oak has mellowed everything out. The honeys are way better on this one. But it's definitely less of your traditional bourbon profile than the blue label by a mile. Oh, yeah. The blue label actually has a little bit of cardboard in there. And this one is all sweets. So the French oak definitely, I would say, you know, if the standard bottle is a 7 out of 10, the French oak is like an 8 out of 10. I don't know if it's actually objectively an 8 out of 10. I don't think these are actually that good. Nick says they are 6 months in French oak. That's good info. I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 6. So, yeah. The SE4 PR5 smells so sweet, and vanilla is turned up to 11. I attribute that to the French oak. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I know that when the Daviess County line hit Ohio, everybody was looking for the French oak bottle here. And I know some of them were disappointed. You know, it's not life-changing, but if they actually purchased both of these and compared them, they would see it is a step up from the standard bottling, I think. What else we got in here? Good to see so many people in the chat. 23 in here right now. If you haven't already, please like this video. That would be amazing. Sub to the channel if you haven't. All those good YouTube things that I'm going to say now. Yeah, we got 15 likes on the video. That's great. So I believe price point on a lot of these, what we've got going here, standard bottle is 30 MSRP, and the others I think are 40 MSRP, or it could be 40 and 50. But there's a $10 differential between these. And, you know, I guess it's worth it here for the difference between the standard and the French oak. So, Carlo Mack, what's up? Good to see you. Cheers to you, my friend. And, you know, appreciate you being here tonight. Jen says, what about Chattanooga 111? Ooh. Cheech, you got to pour some of that. I just did that review, and that continues to surprise me. For those of you who are not hip to sealbox.com, they have the brand new Chattanooga, what is it? Experimental number 17, the apricot brandy finish. They have some of those left at $70 a bottle, and if it's your first order, I believe you get free shipping. So I just snagged one of those because I love the Chattanooga stuff, and anything brandy finished, I am going to drink that. So, you know, if you haven't gotten one of those, I think that is the spot to do that, unless you live close to the distillery in Tennessee. Chatty 111. All right, guys. Cool. So let's check out this Cabernet finished version here. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's nice and fruity. I've never been super hip to these Cabernet finished, you know, pours. What's the other one? Legent comes to mind. Or is Legent sherry finished, actually? I think Legent might be sherry finished. But like any sort of like wine finish on some of these bourbons, I've never been super hip to them. They usually do better for scotches. They kind of conflict with a lot of bourbon flavors for me. But I think if the influence is just right, if it doesn't spend too long in that barrel, it can be, you know, a really good thing. Oh, yeah. So this is nice and, you know, full of red fruits. Again, a little bit of that ethanol note here. 96 proof, wine finish. I'm not sure why I'm getting that. But it is not present in the standard bottling. So kind of confusing there. It's got to have something to do with that additional oak influence from the second barreling. Okay, well, we have a winner here. Oh, my God. Okay, the Cabernet finish, far and away of this line. Holy crap. There is a ton more spice on that, like that actually makes it interesting up front. These others have just been like honey bombs, light fruit, no depth, minimal oak. This thing is full of rich cinnamon up front, rich spices. Actually, the finish is still going right now. Wow, that is amazing. Holy cow, that is amazing. I mean, especially compared to these others. If I put this next to, you know, Bardstown Apple Brandy, you know, it's not going to compare, of course, but this is pretty great. HBR says, Legion is wine and cherry finish. Nailed it. Oh, sweet. Good. You always say things and you're like, oh, crap, maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. And most of the time, I probably don't, so. Oh, my goodness. Who's within 50 feet of Cheech? What's going on there? Someone's stalking? Oh, it's Aiden. That's hilarious. Yeah. This Cabernet finish. There's a tiny little bit of oak funk in there. Great baking spice. Wonderful red fruits. and there's actually some oak on the back end. This is the first one that's really given me a good bit of oak as compared to these other two. So I've got to say, you guys, if you're looking for any of these Daviess County bottlings, they say limited edition on them. Maybe that's just these two wine finishes because the standard does not say limited edition. I have to recommend first and foremost this one, which is the Cabernet finish for around 40 or 50 bucks MSRP. I'd love to pay 40 for this. I think it's 40. If it's 50, I don't know if I'd buy it. The French oak would come in second for sure, with a little bit of a lighter profile. Really gentle. Like, this is something I would give almost a beginner because it's just very approachable. And in last place, which makes sense to me, is the standard bottling, the blue label. A little bit cheaper and, you know, no wine finishing going on here. So, yeah, interesting these Daviess County pours. All right. Oh, yeah. And, of course, if you are new here, if you haven't been here over the last 2 weeks, all my bottles have googly eyes because my fiance put googly eyes on every one of my bottles. So, actually, I think some of the samples that I'm going to be sending out in the future are going to have teeny tiny googly eyes on them. That might have to become a thing because it's hilarious. All right, well, let's move on here. I'm going to say with this Cabernet finish, cheers to all of you. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. And I'm going to have a little bit of a classier evening than I had on Tuesday night on Scott's stream, my bourbon journey. That was not classy on my part. I was a swaying mess, but it was hilarious. Yeah, Austin, Cabernet makes for excellent finishes. You know, that High Bank Distillery limited release, that was incredible. Like, that was my favorite Cabernet finish I've ever had. And that thing clocked in at, was it 2 years? It's either 2 or 4 years. I can't remember the age on that thing, but, you know, for such a young product to have that cab finish and to turn out the way that it did, absolutely like a stunner. So I like I said in that review too, I hope that they turn that out as a standard offering. If they don't, they're leaving money on the table because that is a killer bottle. Cameron, you were totes adorbs. And I was a lightweight. I didn't eat dinner that night. So I was driving to Jason's house and I called my fiance and I said, hey, I'm already running late to Jason's, but like, I don't want to be an asshole, but I didn't eat dinner and I feel like I should stop off and eat something. She's like, you should stop off and eat something. I said, I can't be late. And, you know, so I hung up the phone and I got there. Jason, when I was at his place, he was like, hey man, anything you want. You can drink anything you want here. And I was like, don't tell me that. Please don't tell me that. Well, he pulls down Eagle Rare 17. He pulls down like this hand-filled bottle of Michter's rye, you know, straight out of the barrel. Pulls that down. Some Russell's Picks, Russell's 03. Just some crazy, crazy shit that he had. And he's just liquoring me up, man. So I got home that night and I was like, I don't know why I didn't get home and eat any food, but I did not eat any food that night. And it was bad. So anytime I don't eat dinner and I start drinking, game over. Googly eye merch, not a bad idea. Little bit of a niche thing, but it might work out. It might work out if I hype it enough. And I've talked to Sarah, and I think she's going to come on a future live stream. I let her know a little bit too late tonight. She had already gotten back from the gym and was ready for bed. So, you know, kind of is what it is. All right, so the next thing I want to do here, let me go ahead and put these glasses behind me. We're going to be doing a blind flight. I have 3 pours here, all in my black Glencairns, which I freaking love these things. If you guys haven't checked these out on Amazon, I think Scotch Whiskey Glass is the company that I got these from. These black Glencairns are sweet for blind tasting. So, you know, check those out. They are a little bit pricier, of course, but, you know, it's a cool thing, and you should go ahead and snag some of those. I do have a Sarah, but I have a Sarah with an H, and she will correct you on that. So, yeah, I do. There are a lot of Sarah significant others in the Whiskey Tube community, it seems. So, you know, and it's Bourbon Night has Chad and Sarah, so I can't have Cameron and Sarah, another C and S couples thing. It's like, I've already stolen Jason's drum idea from the Mash and Drum, so, like, I can't steal everybody's ideas. Bedazzled with googly eyes. That would be very sexy. Daniel says, what was the best thing you had to drink at Jason's? Was there any intimidation factor? That experience alone had to make starting a channel worthwhile. Yeah, so this is an interesting question. You know, I think there's definitely not an intimidation factor, but as you guys know, when you meet somebody online, particularly somebody that's like at a high level of whatever they do, and you end up meeting them in person, it's like one, for instance, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's actually you. Like you're a human being. You're not just a face on a screen. And then the other is like, you don't know how tall someone is or how short or like their proportions, because you just see like a certain profile of them, So like anytime you see somebody, it's like this weird moment where you're like, oh, this is you. Okay, let's hang out now. And it's really, really interesting. So I don't know. It wasn't intimidation, Daniel, but it was like, it was a cool experience to meet Jason. And yeah, you feel a little bit silly when you're in the room with someone like that. But we went down to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room, which is like a cool set. If you ever get the chance to see that, I'm not sure if he's ever posted a picture behind the scenes. I saw that, DC. But I think like the best pour that I had there. Oh, this is easy, actually. I forgot about this one when I said it earlier. It was Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. It was the old bottling. You can't even really call it a Dusty because I think it's batch B516, the 139.4 proof release. So what is that, 59.7? That had the dusty funk in there that I absolutely love in like an older whiskey from the 80s, from the 90s. It had it in there from like 5 years ago, and it was at a super high proof, and there was none of that like sort of cheap peanut taste that some of the Elijah Craig barrel proofs have. I don't tend to like peanuts in my whiskey, especially high proof whiskeys. And I'm telling you what, it was a special, special pour. So I ended my night with that. I also had a Kilkerran 8-year cask strength sherry cask. That was freaking nuts as well. So sorry for the the dissertation. Sorry, Sarah. That's okay. I don't think she's watching, but she never watches my streams. She's going to hear me say that. I'm going to get yelled at. It's just borrowing in Whiskey Tube. Yeah. Peter says, I have a Sarah that picked my SAOS 10-year single barrel. It's always the Sarahs, Don't fuck with this train, though. Stealing is the sincerest form of flattery. Wait, that's imitation. Samesies. Yeah, I don't want to steal. I'll just imitate a little bit. I will say I had the name Drums and Drams picked out before I knew about Jason's channel. I know that's so easy to say now, but I swear to God, I mean that. I was still drinking Scotch. I hadn't even gone over to bourbon. This was a year ago when I wanted to start the channel. It took me 10 months to do the damn thing, but here we are. Kilkerran Aiden is freaking incredible. That was an amazing pour. So really, really awesome. I would love to get a bottle of that. I had a friend in Chicago, just missed that. He was going to send me one, but unfortunately, there was none left. So let's move on now to the blind flight. Sorry it's taking me so long. I'm just yapping up here. I'm going to taste some more whiskey here. So my goal now, I'm going to pull my phone out so I can write down my guesses. My goal is to guess type of whiskey, Scotch, rye, bourbon, proof, age, distillery, and then see if I can take a gander at what the old bottle is, see if I can actually get that. Let's see here. You can be the whiskey tuber with the Sarah that's actually... I can't comment on this. I got to move on. I'm gonna get in trouble. EC straight rye down. Ooh, that's a good one. Nice chocolatey, easygoing sip. Okay, so let's go ahead and see glass number 1 here. I'm going to show you guys what is in glass number 1. Please don't tell me in the chat what is in here. And give me a thumbs up if the camera focuses and you can actually see what's in here. So I'm going to turn my head, hold this up. Let me know if you guys can see what is in glass number 1. Okay, let's put that away. Interesting. My dad is texting me. This could not be good. Do you guys see it? Oh, Aiden says we're good. Okay, good. Thumbs up. All right. This first one immediately is smelling really, really honey forward, really sweet. Good bit of oak in this profile, though. Gonna have to say, for now, I'm thinking this is a bourbon. Not enough spice for me to think that this would be a rye. Yeah, nice and sweet. Honey, some nice like grape notes in here. Leaning towards like a Buffalo Trace profile almost. Proof seems manageable, 90 to 100 for right now. Nothing like barrel proof about this, I don't think. Pretty nice proof on the palate. Like around that 100 proof mark, I'm thinking. And a good bit of spice, honestly. The finish kind of weak, not too strong on the finish here. It's kind of leaving a little bit of spice in the mouth, a little bit of like honey and that grape note in the front of palate. Yeah, getting a lot more oak funk as I come back to this now. I can't imagine this would be Buffalo Trace with that amount of oak, though. That's a little bit hard to believe, you know? Trying to get a blue spot. Yeah, I just saw when I was at Jason's, he posted a picture on Instagram of it, that blue spot cask strength. And I think he's going to compare that to Redbreast 12 cask strength. I didn't get a chance to try it, but, you know, I would be very curious to. I didn't think Redbreast 12 was worth 60. I should try Green Spot. Is that worth 60? I can't speak to that. What do you guys think about that? I am not super hip on my Irish whiskeys, unfortunately, at this point. So, I'm enjoying Writer's Tears, Copper Pot, around 40. Oh, interesting. I don't think I've tried that one. I've tried some of the Redbreast stuff, none of the Spot stuff. Knoppog Castle, I think I've tried. But that would have been at a bar, and I wouldn't really remember, you know, kind of what it tasted like at all. All right, so this whiskey's giving me a little bit of difficulty now because there's so much oak funk. But again, so much Buffalo Trace going on. You know, Buffalo Trace type notes. It reminds me of like an E.H. Taylor, but it's really oaky. So maybe it's my E.H. Taylor single barrel. Because like, you know, if I'm thinking about Buffalo Trace stuff that I have here, I have like an Elmer, Rock Hill, you know, BT Eagle Rare, E.H. Small Batch, Blanton's. I have like all the standard stuff. This seems a little bit more oak funk forward. But it's really hard for me to believe that this is an E.H. Taylor. But it could be the single barrel. I don't know. Let me get one more sip here. It might be that. It might be an E.H. single barrel. It could also be a John J. Bowman. I always sleep on the Bowman stuff. When I'm thinking about the Buffalo Trace profile, the Bowman stuff passes me by because it's not always in my brain, you know, to think about that when I get those Buffalo Trace honey and grape, raisin, you know, light sweet notes like that, corn grain, and some of the younger products. I don't know. Right now, I'm going to say this is 100 proof. I'm going to say it's a bourbon. I'll say that the age is like, well, with that amount of oak, I'd have to say 10 years. What's the other thing I need to guess? Distillery, I'm going to say Buffalo Trace. And if it's Bowman, I'll give myself a, you know, pass on that. And I'm going to say this is EH single barrel, but I might come back to this and see if I can get another guess after I try these other two. Maybe a comparison to the other two will enlighten me as to what is in this glass. I have no idea. But for those of you just joining, let me show you one more time what is in this glass. I'm going to turn my head here. You can take a look. If it's nothing by Buffalo Trace, I'm going to feel like a total dummy. But that is what's in this glass here. Check the chat real quick here. Daniel asks, how did you develop, such a sophisticated, I don't know if I would say sophisticated, but how did you develop such a sophisticated level of nosing and palate? Did you get a nosing kit? No, so I've never had a nosing kit before. I've thought about getting one of those. I actually developed my nose and palate off of Scotch, of all things. I think just like anything in life, acquiring a new skill, you have to start with the big picture and sort of wean it down to the details. And I tell people this all the time. If you start with bourbon, I think you're starting at sort of a disadvantage in a way because bourbon is so close, closely related. I mean, yeah, like for instance, Buffalo Trace tastes way different than Jim Beam. Like, of course, you're going to get peanuts on Jim Beam, you're going to get honey on Buffalo Trace. But these are very closely related notes for the most part between a lot of these bottles. We're dealing with vanilla caramel, nuttiness, cinnamon, baking spice, oak. And then you start getting into tobacco leather like at older ages. Scotch is so easy to understand right off the bat, A sherried Scotch next to a purely ex-bourbon cask matured Scotch, night and day difference, and you can start to identify red fruit versus, vanilla sweetness and barley sugar. And then from there in Scotchland, you can start doing mixed types of things like Macallan Double Cask, for instance, or Glenfiddich 15, where you're overlaying these two different things in a blend. That's a lone wanderer. That's funny. But like you can start then trying different blended versions of these in different scotches. And then of course you go to Isla Scotch and you're tasting rubber tires and iodine and Band-Aids and all that craziness. So for me, it's just like Scotch was so easy to grasp and understand. And watching videos of Ralphie or of Horst Looning at whiskey.com tell me what was in that glass. And I'd say, okay, between these two, he said honey here and he didn't say it here. So that thing that I'm getting in this glass must be honey. And that's kind of how I did it. And then I went to bourbon, which is like a fine-tooth comb for me. You're trying to comb through the same similar types of flavors at all times. So, that's kind of the long answer for that. A Scotch nosing kit is a hamper full of sweaty socks. That is hilarious. Only if you're talking about like Springbank or something, which those are some sweaty socks I would love to have in my mouth. I didn't say that. Oh man, I haven't had this one yet, the SE4 PR5. I really want to try that one sometime. Isla nosing is heaven in a glass. Yes, it is. Especially like Ardbeg Oogie, like something with a little sherry influence like that. You get all that peat. You get a little bit of that sweetness to round it out. Or even Corey Vrecken. Geez, Corey Vrecken is a, hefty whiskey, but I love that. Balblair in 1998-2015 was the best double casking I ever had. That sounds nice. That sounds nice. All right, let's go to glass number 2 now of this blind flight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Good to be here. Really, I look forward to this every week. Actually, I want to ask you all a question. I can already smell this as a Scotch. It's wafting up right now. Oogie is just pandering to DC and I. I'll pander all friggin' day. All hail Ardbeg. Absolutely. Cheers to that. Nick says, this is your 45-minute hydration reminder. This is why Nick is a good friend. Let's crack this thing. Excuse me. No COVID here. Just choking on water. No big deal. Carlos says, Oogie's my favorite whiskey. Nice call out. Oh, yeah. I need to get another bottle. I do not have a bottle here right now, and I need one. Public email address, send you a sample. Oh, my gosh. This would be amazing. Let's link up via email. I'll put it right here. It's actually probably in the description of the video. drumsanddrams@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up, and we will link up, do a little sample swap if you'd like. That would be amazing. Ask Lowonder, send you a sample. He has 4... Jesus. 4 bottles. You must love that stuff. Yeah, Daniel, and you're right about this. I went on a binge for a while on the Scotch thing, and it cost a lot of money. So, absolutely right. I think the nosing and tasting kit, that doesn't exist. The nosing kit would be an interesting thing to try, though. I don't know if you've done that yet, but I'd be interested to it. Yeah, cheers. Cheers. I always keep 2 Oogies at home. Drums and Drams, improve my palate. Damn autocorrect. All right, so glass number 2. Let me show you guys what's in glass number 2. Here we go. Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay. A little move back and forth here. Put that down. I can already smell the Scotch, though. Woo, it is sweet. Like barley sugar sweet. A little bit of ethanol. Oh, something a little bit coastal about this. Maybe. Maybe like a Buna 12? I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely like a nice bit of citrus and like lemon zest in this glass with some leaning towards like a maybe like a Buna 12 or even a Glenmorangie, something like nice and sweet with some confectionery sugar notes in here. Mm. Oogie was a whiskey that took my virginity. I love her so much. That's funny. Yeah. Mine was Lafroig 10. So, the peated stuff got to me first, and I've fallen away from it. But I think I need to make a return to that soon. I haven't bought a bottle of peated scotch in like 6 months. I kind of hate to say that. I've been on such a bourbon craze recently. And also because it's more affordable during these jacked up COVID times. I am fully self-employed musician, so it presents some issues. I've always liked makers, but yeah, I gotta give that a try. That sounds great. Yeah, this smells young. Like this scotch doesn't smell any more than 12 years old. 10 to 12 years old. Vanilla, you know, powdered sugar, confectionery notes, pineapple, lemon zest, like white cake, bunt cake almost. Yeah, really good, but a nice amount of proof on the nose, which is kind of surprising. Hmm. Really, really like solid proof there. A little bit tannic oak at the end there, but nice and sweet. Good. Oh my God, good fruity notes, good like caramelized vanilla type notes. That's amazing. Really easy sipper. And honestly, I would say that the palate does better than the nose on this one. The nose is a little bit aggressive and out of balance. There's a little bit too much ethanol actually on the nose, but it's just sweet cake notes. Like I said, bunt cake with like some sort of like lemon vanilla drizzle on top. But there's also some pineapple notes in here too. Peter says, see if you can get a Longrow Red. They last only seconds in Alberta, but I hear they can be found in the U.S. We don't get it here in Ohio, so I would have to go to a lovely friend or secondary for that one, unfortunately. Obviously, this sample that I've got here that I'm going to be tasting tonight, I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to love it, and I'm going to want a whole bottle of the Longrow Red. But until I find my long lost pen pal out of state to send me one, I don't know what I can do about that. That stuff just sits here. Oh my good. We might need to talk, Aiden. I might have to get you that Weller Antique, which just hit Ohio again this week, so I can actually get you one of those if you'd like. Doers can live with the very basic Scotch offerings. Like anything I want to dig deeper, like bourbon. Yeah, and if you only go to the 10, 12-year variations of these distilleries, you might not like it. Like for me, I had to jump into Scotch at the 14-year level with the Quinta Ruban from Glenmorangie and Lafroig 10. If you don't like smoke, don't go there. But I went to Quinta Ruban, and then from there, I started to get into some more aged stuff like Right Away, sherry casked, because there's more flavor. Then I backpedaled to some of the basic offerings, and I could appreciate them more once I had tried their aged counterparts. I'd maybe try an Aberlour or a peated, like an Ardbeg 10. You'll either change your mind or stick to bourbon. Exactly, yeah. If you can get like a taste of Aberlour 18 or the Abunad, that might be a good place to go. But you're paying next about $100 for those, so that's not great. That's who we got here. Very recently priced and as good as it gets. Yeah, I think different states just have different interests. Yeah, definitely not the market. It seems like in Ohio too, like most really good Scotch just sits on the shelves here. I can walk down the street and get like a Lafroig 30 or Lafroig 25. Some of these aged expressions that you would never, some other states you never see those. So, yeah, for whatever reason. Yeah, glass number two. I'm gonna return to this. Smelling a lot like a Glenmorangie product. Now that I come back to it, those sweet confectionery notes, just they scream Glenmorangie to me. But the last time I did a blind flight, I think it was last week, I called out, I think I called Glenmorangie cake and it wasn't it. I think this is maybe Glenmorangie cake, and I might be wrong about this too, so I don't know what the heck to believe, you know? It's damn delicious, though. This could be the Cadboll Estate. This could be the Astar, maybe. The proof is hitting me to the point where this could be the Glenmorangie Astar, the 2017 release. God, there's a lot of cherry at the end now. Okay, I'm going to say that this is 46% ABV. It's a Scotch. Age 10 to 12 years. Let's say 12 years. I'm going to say around 12 years. What's the other thing? Glenmorangie Distillery. I'm going to say this is Glenmorangie cake. I'm going to take that guess because those notes align with cake to me, where you get that citrus zest. I get cherry on the back end, a little bit of sweet confectionery notes with the tannic oak as well. But the proof is throwing me off here. I might regret saying that is cake. But if you haven't had a Glenmorangie A Tale of Cake, I would go buy one right now. It's an incredible limited release from them. Aiden says, people don't go for Campbelltowns here. I mean, they're funky, but Campbelltowns are my favorite, and I can't get any of them here in Ohio, which really sucks. JG says, started with Monkey Shoulder. I can't say I like the Monkey Shoulder. Oh, it disappeared faster than... That's funny. I like how it gets all the Weller, and I can't get any in Washington. If you need... All we get is Special Reserve and Antique. If you need one, send me an email. I'll cost and ship that to you. Absolutely, because we get so much of that stuff. I can get 6 to 8 of those, one per store limit on any given day. So just let me know, and I will get you an Antique or Special Reserve if you'd like. One a Saz 18. Holy crap. Well, my bourbon boner just... Never mind. Good Lord. What proof is yours straight from the barrel? Let me check for you. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But it is right here. 128.5. And my straight from the barrel tastes like a fireball candy to me. It is really a strange profile, you know, compared to what I would expect from a Blanton straight from the barrel, but maybe they all taste that way. Yeah, exactly. Good Lord. All right, so we're on glass number 3, 3 of 3 for this flight. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'm going to show you what is in glass number 3 now on this note card. Same thing as always. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see it, please, so I know we are good to go. All right. What the hell? JG, don't tell me this. Now I know I'm getting everything wrong. I hope glass 2 is a freaking Glenmorangie. Sarah tricks me so much, though. She is so good at this. So, God, glass 3 smells like glass number 1 to me. Oh, what the hell? No, glass 3 is higher proof and a little bit brighter on the nose. Definitely, we're not dealing with Scotch in glass number 3 at all. But some sweeter notes in here as well. Like I'm getting high proof, 50 to 55% in my mind right now. I don't think it's any higher than 55. But definitely some high proof. I'm going to taste it first before I go back to nose it. I think I need to just get this in my palate. Interesting. Man, that is a really, really solid proof. Oh, what's up, Jason? Hey, man, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. I was telling everybody in the chat earlier, man. I was at I was at your place on Tuesday. Probably had a couple too many. All good. And then on Scott's stream, man, I just lost my shit. Like I started drinking and not paying attention to the samples I was pouring and everything. And I woke up the next morning and that symbol had fallen off the wall. My table was all moved around. Shit was on the floor. Like it was a rough night, I guess. So I just didn't. I should have ate dinner. I should have ate dinner before I came to your place that night. But hey, man, thank you so much for having me over. And those pours were epic. I'm telling you what. Holy crap. That Elijah Craig Dusty that you gave me was just wild. All right. Let's see what we got here. A lot of repeal reserve hitting my area right now. If it is batch 4, absolutely, Jason. If it's batch 4 hitting your area, I would say hard pass. I don't know if you guys agree with me. Last week when I did batch 4 here live, it was just that weird candied orange flavor and pine notes and mintiness and just like real off-profile stuff. So if it's batch 4, I would not hit that up. Batch 3 and batch 2 are both really, really great. You could have your way with hot butter rolls however you like for this as 18. That's hilarious. Dale Kelly says Campbelltown Scotch is damn pricey. Kilkerran 12 and Springbank 10, around $80. Worth it, never tried. Look, Springbank 10 at $80. I've never had the 10. That seems tough for me to pay $80 for a 10-year-old. I think I got the 15 for $145. So maybe that is sort of correct pricing or close to MSRP, unfortunately. I think there's nothing better than Campbelltown Scotch. So if you get a chance to try it first, I would. Maybe from a bar or something, or get a sample. I'm going to buy that, especially that Kilkerran 12, all day. The Springbank 10, I'd have to probably give that a try and see, because I love my 15, and I'd probably pay the upcharge for the extra 5 years, honestly. DC says another random thought for me looking at your inventory. I have the Lafroig PX also. Dude, I love the Lafroig PX. That, I might end my night with that after the, what do I have? The Longrow Red. I think I might end the night with the Lafroig PX because that is an epic pour. And, yeah, where did you get yours, though? Because mine was a travel retail exclusive. I got that in Gatwick Airport in London. So be curious to know where you were at. Trev says, sorry for hopping in and out with Miss Wrench tonight. She says, hello, everyone. Tell her hello, and I totally understand. I have to do the fiance duty quite often and, jump in and out of some of these chats when we are watching The Bachelor together. Actually, I love that show, so I can't even be an asshole. Time for a triple Radamacue. Cheers. Cheers to that, Brian. Little triple Radamacue action in here. The most annoying rudiment ever. Okay. So glass number 3 now is getting weirdly, weirdly sweet to me. And I have no idea what is in here. I'm going to remind you guys what's in glass number 3. Turn my head here. Okay. I have no clue what's in this glass. Oh, get the hell out of here. Oh, man. So you must be watching Monday night's episode then. Yep. I watched that last night. And that's why I was in and out of Jason's stream. That's hilarious. Oh, you got it on the... Okay, from the Whiskey Exchange. I don't think I can order from there here in Ohio, but... Yeah, the PX cask is a solid offering. And I don't know if you got the 1 liter bottle as well, but I love the 1 liter. I paid 72 pounds for it in the airport. So like $95 or something, maybe like that. Not a bad deal for 1 liter of PX finished Lafroig. It's great. Just got the notification right now you were live. Oh, gosh. Well, thank you for having your notifications on. That's awesome. So she is looking for alternatives. There's only one alternative. His name is Matt, and he is long, tan, and handsome, so we have no chance. That's funny. So glass 3 here has a lot of ethanol on the nose. I can't get away from that. Really sweet vanilla notes, but a high proof. Like a good bit of like lighter fruits, maybe strawberry, some light cherry. Honey, definitely honey on here. It's like got a little bit of a Buffalo Trace profile, which is what's throwing me off here at this proof. That's tough. That's full of flavor, though, on the palate. DC, yeah, 120 across the pond. That's not bad, actually, all things considered. So, I would probably pick that up at that price too. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. If you haven't already, like the video, sub to the channel, all that good YouTube stuff I have to remind you of. I'm thinking I might do a Patreon at 500 subs, but I'm not sure. Does that sound like a good idea? Should I wait till I'm monetized at 1,000? I don't know. I'm just trying to crowdsource some opinions. I also have another question for you guys. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. Not tomorrow. Saturday at 3 p.m. Should I be avoiding any sports games at Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern? I'm thinking of doing like a pop-up live stream. I had this suggestion. I can't remember who suggested it. Might have been Richie Z. Might have been Lito. To blend some different blends of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof with Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel to see, what a good sort of ratio between the two would be to kind of beef up the Toasted Barrel's profile a little bit, because it's really nice and it's sweet, a little tannic, but it's watery. So I wanted to do, 5 different blends here. There's a 50-50, 20-80, and 63-35 that go both ways with this. And I'm going to be doing that maybe on Saturday at 3 p.m. Does that sound like a decent idea? Do you think I'll have more than like 5 people on the live stream? I never do Saturday lives, so I don't want to interfere. I know Shayla is at 5 p.m. Eastern, so I'll be done by then. What do you guys think? I don't know. Is that a terrible idea? Be curious to hear your thoughts. Okay, I just came back to glass number 1. I no longer view the sports ball, so it's all good to me, says Carlo. That's hilarious. I love good old sports ball. The one sport I follow is the UFC. That's the only thing that I watch. I've watched it for 15 years. A little bit of college football, Ohio State Buckeyes here and there. A little bit of Steelers football here and there because I'm born into a Steelers family. Otherwise, it's all MMA for me. DC says I'm there. Hell yeah, man. That would be awesome. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. If you pregame for Shayla, I'll be slammered. Should I call it, like, maybe I'll hit Shayla up. I've never messaged her before. Maybe I'll hit her up and see if I can do an official Shayla pregame. That would be kind of cool. Maybe I could start her at 4 p.m. then and do a 1-hour pregame leading up to Shayla, and then I can get you slammered. All right, so I'm back to glass number 1 now. I guess that this was E.H. Taylor single barrel, but I'm not sold on that now that I'm coming back to the nose. It's got too much funk. It's got too much funk and a little bit of nuttiness that's not doing it for me. This is not E.H. Taylor single barrel. Hell no. What was I thinking? I think I was just not used to bourbon, those bourbon flavors when I tasted that glass. There is no way that's E.H. Taylor single barrel. I must have been smoking something. The oak funk is great, though. Oh, shit. Is this a Russell's 10? Cheech was drinking a Russell's 10 earlier. This could be a Russell's 10. Yeah, that oak funk might be a Russell's 10 year. Interesting. Okay, glass number 2 I said was a Tale of Cake Glenmorangie. Seems a little too high proof to be cake for me. I'm having a hard time, guys. Having a hard freaking time. Let's see. Too much funk for a Campbelltown fan. Oh, who's got too much funk? What's going on here? Rick says, "Is Tale of Cake worth it?" Rick, I think it is. Now I'm a Glenmorangie fanboy. I love most of everything they put out. The Cad Bowl Estate was a little It's a little disappointing after it's open for a month or two because it gets really weirdly funky and tannic, not in a good way on the back end. Tail of Cake to me is like a mixture of the Cad Bowl, the Astar, and like the standard bottling with a little bit of the Alta biscuity vanilla flavors, that sugar cookie flavor. It's like if you mix all of those things together, you get the cake. And for $100, I know that's a lot of money, but for a Scotch, that's not a lot of money, unfortunately. And I'll buy it all day. So we're gonna get a backup here because we love Glenmorangie Tail of Cake. Yeah, had one of Eddie's barrels on Russell Reserve 10, so I'm ruined on the shelf. For yeah, cake is like 80. I would, oh my god, I would do that all freaking day. Yeah, number 2. It's so sweet, but the proof is what's throwing me off here. It feels cask strength to me. I'm gonna look at my scotches real quick. See if anything. Oh no way! Is this the Alta? I might be sleeping in the doghouse tonight if I can't get this. Okay. I don't think that's the Alta. I don't know. It's Glenmorangie. I'm taking too long on this. I'm so sorry. Okay, glass number 1. I'm going to have to say glass number 1 is Russell's 10. I'm going to guess that. I'm changing my mind entirely. Glass 2. God damn. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm going to say it's Glenmorangie for sure. It's 46%. I don't think that's probably right, though. I'm going to say that this is... I'm going to say this is the Alta, Glenmorangie. And glass number 3. Glass number 3 has ethanol, sweetness, vanilla, rye spice. A good bit of rye on glass 3. Here's your reminder of what's under glass number 3. All right. That one is tough. All right. I'm going to have to make a guess here. It has been too friggin' long. Let's see. Let's see what this is. I don't even know. I have no idea. All right. I'm going to just make a random guess on glass number 3. For those of you still in the chat, let me know what you're sipping on right now. I would love to know what we have all moved to. It is 9 p.m., 9:10 p.m. right now. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Really appreciate you being here. All right. I don't have a guess for glass number 3. I'm going to say glass 3 is 55% ABV. It's a bourbon. Its age. Its age is 10 years. And I don't know the distillery. And that's the best I can do. I'm so sorry. I just want to move on. I want to get done with this thing. All right, glass 1, I said was Russell's 10. Oh, shit, I got it. Russell's Reserve 10-year and glass number 1. Okay. Okay, glass number 2, I said Glenmorangie Alta. This was tough. I also said Tail of Cake up front. Let's see. Shit, I got the Alta too. Okay. Now I'm going to be less disappointed with glass number 3. This one, I have no idea. It has a weirdly Buffalo Trace type nose. I want to say it's like Rock Hill. Or even, I almost said Weller Foolproof, but I don't know. I would take a guess at Weller Foolproof maybe. I have no idea. Holy shit. Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered, 57.45. Whoa. Whoa. That is wild. I have two batches of Uncut Unfiltered. And when I sip them knowing what they are, they never do it for me. And this has quite a bit of ethanol. It could be the Glencairn because I usually sip out of these glasses, which dissipate that ethanol a little bit more. This is impressive actually. Holy crap. All right. Well, I am surprised by the result. I am so glad I didn't say E.H. Taylor single barrel instead of Russell's 10 because that is really embarrassing. I think, the oak funk, and I got some sweetness after tasting all this Daviess County stuff that like totally threw my palate off. And when I came back around to it, it made a lot more sense because I had time to kind of acclimate. But wow, that is a crazy blind. I got 2 of the 3. I will take those results for sure. But that Smoke Wagon is a sleeper. Wow. That is good stuff. Oh my God. I need to go back and try these Smoke Wagon batches that I have because that is way better than I remembered it being. Absolutely. All right, let me transition here really quickly. The other thing is, like, I wish they made these glasses in black. They make the Glencairns in black, and that's great for blind tastings. But I've used these glasses for, year and a half because I think that it dissipates the ethanol just a little bit more than a Glencairn, and I like the way that it noses. So when I go to Glencairns, I never sip out of them. I only use them for blind tastings right here, and everything is more ethanol forward and higher proof than I'm used to because it's just funneling a little bit more of that to my nose. So I'm being a little picky snob about it, but it is what it is. Let's check the chat here. Yeah, great chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, those two are sort of some of my go-tos. I would say I have like 5 to 7 go-tos in bourbon land. Same thing with Scotch as well. And so I think Sarah picked those in some ways to throw me off because I drink them so often. But the Russells gave me a run for my money until I'm so glad I didn't say E.H. Taylor. That's not great. All right. Okay, well, let me go through my final little thing here. I think I have some spare glasses. Oh, yeah, here we go. I forgot I was going to do this. So for those of you who are familiar with Bardstown Bourbon Company, I am like the humongous-ist fan of their products and everything about them. I love all of their blends. And I have these nice Copita glasses from our visit to the distillery, which was like 5 weeks ago maybe. And we loved our time there, met some really amazing people. So I'm going to be sipping this next comparison out of my Copita glasses because when I drink Scotch, I typically like to drink lower proof Scotch out of these glasses because they're smaller, they funnel more of the aromas to your nose. But if you put like a barrel proof bourbon in here, it blows your entire face off. So you got to be careful what you put into a Copita glass because of the size and the shape. For me, it is low proof Scotch that you want to amplify. And so that's why I'm going to do this next comparison with these. And then my final 2 Scotches of the night, which again are samples sent by Lito Cortes. They're going to go in my Bardstown Bourbon Company Glencairns. So that's going to be awesome. This is a Bardstown Bourbon Company sponsored flight. It's not, but I wish it was. That would be awesome. So the thing that we're going to be doing in the Bardstown Copitas is a comparison between Cutty Sark blended Scotch whiskey, which is not a great Scotch whiskey, especially these days. This is like piss water, But I'm going to be comparing this to the 1970s Berry Brothers and Rudd version of Cutty Sark. And so I've been really excited about this. Lito hit me up and said that he had a 1970s bottle that he had not opened yet. And he opened that bottle and sent me this 2-ounce sample. So I am so stoked about this. I have to save 1 ounce because I'm going to do an official review of this week on a video. And then I'm going to compare this, like I said, next to today's current bottling of Cutty Sark, which is generally egregious. So there we go. Nick says, this is your 78-minute hydration reminder. Nick, you're going to be a mod just for that. I mean, you're killing it. And my dad had texted me like 45 minutes ago, and I'm so sorry that I didn't answer him. I have it pulled up right here. It was when I mentioned Jason from Mash and Drum, because we were saying something about the train thing, and he said, Jason, who with the train? I used to work with a guy named Jason. That's into trains. That's why I asked. I'm sure it's not the same Jason, not the same train. That's hilarious. Let's check the chat here. Oh, Lito's here. Lito says, I was looking forward to this one, but I'm dealing with a situation with my soldiers. I'll catch it later. Lito, I'm so sorry, man. I'm going to save half of these samples, and I'm going to be doing an official review of the Cutty Sark. I'm going to dedicate the rest of the episode to you for the Longrow and the Longmorn. So you're going to get an entire episode for yourself, but you can definitely come check this out, my first impressions of all of those pours. But just know that, man, you've been such a great supporter, and hate to hear that you're dealing with the situation here, but you're going to have an episode that you can go back and watch. So cheers to you, man, and hope everything's okay. Okay. Here we go. We're going to start with today's current bottling of Cutty Sark. Actually, the colors are just about the same. They're both really, really light, like a nice straw color here. You can see there. Ooh, nice autofocus. Finally, we decided to get a good autofocus. This is the 1970s version. All right. So let's see what we get here. Whew. Oh. Okay, so JG says, good night, cheers. Cheers to you, man. I'm cheersing with this current day bottling of Cutty Sark, which is not great, but cheers anyways. Have a good night. I'll see you next time. So how many of you in the chat have had this Cutty Sark, like the current day bottling? Let me know. I have an old crate from Cutty Sark from like the I don't even know what, when they were owned by Berry Brothers and Rudd. And I have like a wooden crate in there that holds a lot of my sheet music. So it's kind of a cool thing for me when Lito said that he had a Cutty Sark 1970s bottling, because, you know, the crate says Berry Brothers and Rudd on it. So I'm not sure what the date is from that, but I have no idea. I was in the Army with a guy who did shots of Cutty and chased it with beer. Oh, that does not sound good. Yeah, this Cutty sound, this is a blended Scotch. It's not a blended malt Scotch. So we're dealing with neutral grain spirit. Like, we're dealing with all sorts of like shitty stuff blended in here, basically. Any kind of, grain spirit, single grain or whatever. It's got a ton of just ethanol, like those neutral grain, notes on there. It's not good. It's got like some citrus, some lemon zest, a little bit of barley sugar. DC, that's probably true. I still haven't had Malort. I need to get a sample of Malort just so I can taste it, make a face, and call it a day. I have a Berry Bros and Rudd 12-year-old Corona rum. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I'd love to try that. All right, so today's Cutty Sark is just like cheap cane sugar. Not a lot of fruitiness to speak of. It's like citrus, lemon zest, cane sugar, like vanilla, ethanol. It's not good. Like this face that I'm making, that's the face. That's not good. Let's go to the 1970s Cutty Sark. Okay. Holy crap. Oh my God. Have you guys ever tried have you ever tried just any dusty bottle, or like whether it's good or bad, something from 20, 30 years ago? This has that dusty, funky note on it, but it's not as heavy as the dusty note in a dusty bourbon. Like, I have an old Granddad 1983 up there that is like the funkiest thing ever. I have a Weller 12 raised wheat, super funky. This doesn't have that level of funk. It's not as heavy, but it's the exact same kind of funk. Wags, what's up, man? Hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh, you just finished your IG live. Had fun the other night on my bourbon journey. I was telling everybody earlier on this on this live stream that I was slammered with you guys. Like, I think by the first 30 minutes I was on there, I had already had like too many pours at Jason's house. Come back to my place, keep drinking, jump on the live, drink a bunch of samples. I was in rough shape, so it was a good hang. I had a good time with you guys, and it's good to see you here, man. I'm sorry I couldn't jump on your IG live, but I do my live streams on Thursdays at 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern, so I apologize that we overlap like that. We have to find a time to collaborate. You come on here, or I go onto your live, and we'll make it happen, man. But it's good to see you. Daniel, okay, wife just came down. Please let me know everything arrives safely tomorrow. Cheers. Cheers to you, Daniel. I will let you know when the samples get here, and I'll figure out how I'm going to dole out all these episodes with the Russells, Booker's picks, Weller foolproof picks, all the things I need to do comparisons of. But cheers to you, man. Have a good rest of your night, and I will see you next time. Oh, my God, this Cutty Sark from the 1970s. Lito, I think you're going to watch, you might watch this replay, you might not, but this Cutty Sark from the 70s that you sent me, it's not a life-changing Scotch, and you can't really expect Cutty Sark to be a life-changing Scotch, but I honestly didn't expect Johnny Walker Black to be, but the Johnny Walker Black sample that I sent you, for me, is amazing. The Cutty Sark, because I know they've typically used cheaper products in this throughout the years. This one has that dusty funkiness, but there's still a little bit of light grain whiskey going on in there that I don't care for so much. But there's a lot more like sherry cask influence in this than in the current bottling of Cutty Sark. Yeah. There's that sherry, slightly rubbery but dark red fruit, stewed fruit funk going on. Those Christmas cake, allspice notes. And it, I think the old bottling of Cutty Sark here is at only 40% ABV. It's hitting more like 46% at least on the nose out of the Copita glass, which is nice. A little thinner mouthfeel, for sure. Some sweeter sugar notes on the palate. Some red fruits. A little bit of that sherry funk. Finish is kind of short, but I would say the winner obviously the winner is the 1970s Cutty Sark over today's Cutty Sark, which smells like just terrible. The old one has a nose that is amazing. Like, if you could sit and nose this all day because of that musty funk from the 1970s. Yeah, amazing. Amazing. So cheers to you, Lito, for sending that. If you are watching this replay, that is amazing. And that's awesome that you have a bottle of Cutty Sark from the 1970s. So I have about 1 ounce left, and I will be doing my official Cutty Sark comparison back to back on a review coming up in the next week or so. So that's going to be awesome. All right, well, for all of you in the chat here, I have 2 more pours to have this evening, and then I'm going to call it a night. It's been about an hour and a half. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this 90 minutes. I have probably 20, 30 minutes tops left in me. So, if you're going to stick around, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good YouTube stuff that I need to remind you of. And let me know what you're sipping on right now. If you have poured another glass, whatever you're up to, let me know what you're sipping on. The chat is a little bit dead right now, but, that's okay. That's okay. It's 9:30. All right, so I have 2 more glasses here. 2 more epic scotches to try. And these are both still, just like the last Cutty Sark sample, from Lito Cortes. And the first one is a Longmorn 11-year from AD Rattray, the independent bottler. And this is the cask strength version at 58.1%. So an 11-year Longmorn independent bottling. And I'm going to pour, I don't know, let's see, almost an ounce in this Glencairn. I'll give you a little bit of history about Longmorn here in a second. And the final pour, stupid job, I can't pour another friggin' work, who needs it? The next pour is going to be the Longrow Red that we've been talking about for the last hour and a half. 11 years, Pinot Noir cask matured, finished. And it's a Campbelltown peated single malt scotch at 53.1%. I'll give you a little bit of history about this too in a second. Make sure I pour a good amount, but not too much. All right. I got those. Now, DC, are you still here? I'm not even sure if DC is still in the chat. Let me check out the participants in the chat. I don't think DC is here, but I hope DC comes back. Jason Busey, that is a legend in the house. Holy cow, Jason Busey, what is up? He is so supportive of so many other channels, so that is amazing to see you in here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Nick says, 90-minute hydration proclamation. Let me hydrate for you, Nick. You are the best friend. All right. I asked you what you were sipping on. Nick says, Peerless, and it's deep. I love a good Peerless rye. Carlos says, Bunnahabhain 12, just can't reach past it very often. I've got mine down there, and that is a solid pour. Lone Wanderer says, stupid job, I can't pour another friggin' work, who needs it? I know. I am self-employed, so I can't relate if you have, like, a job. I always say, like, I don't even have a job. Self-employed. But I feel for you. DC says, I'm here. All right. DC, I'm going to go grab this Laphroaig PX cask. It's just right here. I'll be right back. All right. Almost lost the drum there, guys. Okay, let me grab a fresh glass from behind me. I promised DC, or I said to DC, that I'm going to do this Laphroaig PX as my last pour of the night. And I meant it. Because this is a freaking awesome pour. Straight out of London Gatwick Airport. An amazing dram. But I have 2 more to get through before we get there. So, let's get to it. Oh, wow, the chat. What's up, guys? DC had to pee. Peerless Bourbon. Oh, Nick. I haven't tried that yet, so I can't judge you. But I don't think that that's great from what I hear. But I don't know. Jason Busey with a fistful of Benjamins and no way to donate. You know, I thought about putting my PayPal and my Venmo information here. But I thought to myself, like, in some ways in my head, I get in my own head about these things. Like, you haven't earned it. You're not monetized. Wait until you're monetized. You know, just do your thing and build a community, build your audience before you ask for any money. So, like I said, I might do a Patreon at 500 subs. I might wait till 1,000. I don't know which to do. So, I'd love to hear opinions on like, is it too early to do a Patreon at 500 subs, or should I wait till 1,000? You know, when I get monetized and everything. But like, I don't want to ask for money until I've like contributed enough to the community to, you know, really warrant that. So, for what it's worth, Wag says, "What's up to Jason?" Yeah, they're so like Peerless Rye is on another level than their bourbon from what I've heard. But the rye, for me, even not, having not had the bourbon, the rye is amazing. So it'll happen. The Freud Cargis is my new sipper. I have not had this yet, but I really want to try it, especially this last release of it. Woo! That sounds like a long week, Jason. What is the what's the degree, or what is the end goal of the graduate level classes? I'd be curious to know. How many hours do you need for monetization? We have an army out here. So I have, as of today, I have 900 hours, like watch hours, and I need 4,000. So I'm about a quarter of the way there, just about, in the watch hour category, and about a third of the way there in subscribers, because I started the stream with about 320 subscribers, and you need 1,000. So I'm thinking at the rate that I've been going based on my analytics, I will be monetized by the end of March or like mid-April. That could change. I could need longer. But at the rate that it's going and the collaborations that are in the works, I think end of March, mid-April will be good. Get super chats, maybe start a Patreon then, or start it at 500 subs. I'm not sure. So that's kind of my question. If you've done the work, you've earned the money. I agree. I just don't know. Like, I don't know what the benchmark is, you know? So I'll be curious to know. Masters of Science in Data Science. That sounds intense. See, I did my master's in percussion performance, music performance, and my bachelor's in music education. So the master's degree is no friggin' joke. I mean, you know, I moved to Rochester for 2 years to do that, and that was 80 to 100-hour weeks. It was craziness. So I feel for you, man. All right, let's get to these last couple of pours here. Right here we have the Longmorn 11-year-old. Let me give you a little background on this. So Longmorn Distillery, this is a Scotch distillery founded in 1893. One of the founders was the former manager of the Glendronach Distillery, which is one of my favorite distilleries. But this is 1893, so there's probably like no relation to anything happening now. You know, Longmorn has relationships with Glenlivet and Glen Grant. They joined those two companies in 1970, and this all was bought by the Chivas brothers in 1978. And in 2001, the Chivas brothers was acquired by the French Pernod Ricard group. So it has shifted hands a lot, but there is a relationship between Longmorn and Glenlivet. So if you like Glenlivet, here you go. This is a cask strength independent bottling 11-year Longmorn from A.D. Rattray. So never had any of their independent bottlings because we don't get them here in Ohio, but here we go. Whew, that is heavy on the proof. Hell yeah. 58.1. This is hitting above that. Oh, lots of beautiful light flavors. Vanilla, beautiful citrus flavors, a lot of lemon in here. Little like berry note, lighter berry, strawberry. Oh yeah, and some confectionery, like sugary notes as well. I'm going to taste it on the palate one time before I dilute this with a little bit of water. That is strong. Holy cow. Hell yeah. It is so... Wow. Tons of tannic oak at the end. It is so refreshing to get a Scotch at cask strength, you know, so that you can actually taste what comes out of the barrel. Scotch, in my opinion, is proof down just too much. compared to bourbon, you can find some like, bottled and bond bourbons. There's that like middle rate, 50% bourbon level. In Scotch, that doesn't exist. It's either cask strength or it's not cask strength. And if it's not cask strength, they probably go down to 40 or 43 because they're going to get the most out of that. And it's standard fare for the industry. For bourbon, there's a middle tier, which is bottled and bond at 50%. And so if you're going to go down from cask strength, you might consider hitting bottled and bond as opposed to going down to 40, 45% ABV. So it's refreshing to smell and taste a Scotch that is at cask strength. DC says the color is very light. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an uncolored, and I believe this is unchill filtered as well, this independent bottling. So the color is light. It's only 11 years old. I could only assume this is entirely ex-bourbon casks, the way this tastes, the color, all of that stuff. So I'm not offended by the straw color of this, It's so light. Nick says, bourbon big data to train a data science model. Yeah, Nick, you've been talking about this a lot. Help Buyer's Guide, yeah. Just poured an Alberta Premium 11-year cask strength rye from Shelter Point Double Barrel. Whoo! Peter, we got to hook up on some samples one of these days. You have some crazy shit that I really want to try. Oh, Jason, you and Nick need to talk about this because Nick has been posting some things about this recently, and you two seem like some guys that would really gel on this level, especially if you're thinking the same way. I'm with Roy from Aquavita on a Scotch Couture, age stated 46. Yes, Carlo, you're totally right on this. Absolutely. If I can find something at 46 plus and non-chill filtered and uncolored, I will buy that any day. Even if it's a little bit of an upcharge, I'm down. Yes, absolutely. So I've got some water in this now for sure. This Longmorn 11 year. Too much water. I have to use a little bit more of my sample. I got to even this out. Yeah, that's probably okay. All right. It's really, really light, but so flavorful. I cannot agree more with this. This is this is the best. 100 proof. 100 proof is for me like the benchmark proof. 90 is just cheating people. If you want to go, 46% ABV, you want to go to 92 proof. It's like, come on, just go to 100. Take the loss on your barrels and bottle it at a proof that makes more sense. I don't know. That is delicious. Tannic oak in the finish. Oh yeah. Beautiful light toffee notes, light vanilla notes in this Longmorn 11. Because it's cask strength and unchill filtered and uncolored, like all of that mouthfeel hangs on. I've diluted this down to probably at least 50%, and the mouthfeel is still there with this. It is incredible. And I've never been a big fan of Glenlivet, and I know Longmorn is not Glenlivet, but it is related to Glenlivet. This stuff is incredible. It's like if I took the sweet notes from Glenmorangie and combined them with like, I don't know, a cask strength Glenlivet. It's like this overlap. It's incredibly sweet. Yeah, really sweet. Vanillas, sugars, light citrus. Yeah, powdered sugar. Really light fruits. Pears in there. A little bit of pineapple. Oh my God, that is amazing. So I cannot say enough about this. Thank you so much, Lito, for sending me that sample. All right. We have to close this out with the last two pours here. Oh, let's check out the chat here. Peter says, I sent a bunch of hard-to-get discontinued Canadian samples to Clifton from Bourbon Bites last year. If we could link up, Peter, I would love to send you some things. I'd love to check out your inventory and see what I have that you might not have, and we could do a little trade. So, you know, let's think about this. If you're not into it, no big deal at all, but let's think about it. 94.95, but could have been better. Yeah, all day. With Scotch, it just needs to be proofed higher, plain and simple. Unless it's like a share, if it's like an 18-plus year only, you know, exclusive Oloroso finish, that's different because there's so much dense flavor at 92, 94 proof, 96 proof, you know, it's substantial enough. But if it's not an exclusive Oloroso finish or anything that's that dense, it needs to be over 100. You're right. Wags. Rock Hill, for me, it could be my single barrel. Mine is not that good. Now, in a blind tasting, I did Elmer, Rock, Hancock's, and Blanton's. I did Mash Bill too. So Rock Hill got second, but I never reached for it. And my Rock Hill is still 3/4 of the way full, and I've had it for 6 months now. So for me, it's not something to chase after. I still want double oak barrel proof. Just from anybody? Aiden? Yeah, Carlo. Totally right on that. I think I'm going to crack my iron root. Jason, I had my first iron root pour on Tuesday night at Jason's house from the Mash and Drum, and iron root fucked me up pretty bad. Like, I could not believe what I was tasting from iron root. So, incredible stuff. Michter's American is pretty freaking good, though. It's so easy to drink. Yeah, absolutely. Icarus, not hubris. Okay. Interesting. Elmer over Rock Hill, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I have 2 more pours. I have to pour my second of the 2, which is Lefroy PX cask. And this is for DC. This is one freaking hell of a pour. Oh, yeah. I'm going to wake up smelling like rubber tires, red fruits, and Band-Aids. And you know what? Some days you just got to wake up smelling like those things. So before I touch that, I am going to try this Longrow Red 11-year 2019 Pinot Noir cask Campbelltown single malt Scotch whiskey at 53.1%. And let me give you guys just a little bit of information about this. All right. So Longrow, Hazelburn, and Springbank are all Campbelltown whiskeys. I actually have my other Campbelltown whiskeys back here. I have my Springbank 15, which I had to order online. Glen Scotia is the only Campbelltown whiskey that we get here in Ohio. So it's a Glen Scotia 15, which is a delicious, delicious pour. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to pour some Glen Scotia 15 right now. Because Glen Scotia is amazing. All right, camera, let's go ahead and autofocus now. There we go. All right. The chat is funny right now. DC says, hell yeah. Peter says, I will trade an ETL for a Rock Hill Farms every day. Oh, interesting. See, I'll take ETL every day. So that is interesting. The fuck is that? Yeah. The Glen Scotia 15 is an incredible pour. So I just wanted to pour that out so we could do a little comparison here. You know, Wag's like, I don't know about that, man. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts. My Rock Hill has just not improved, unfortunately. So I don't know. I that does not appear in Ohio, so that's a disappointment for me. All right. First up, oh, I need to tell you guys. So Springbank, Hazelburn, and Longrow are all under the Springbank label. They're Campbelltown scotches. And so here's the breakdown. Hazelburn is triple distilled and unpeated. I have no Hazelburn here. Springbank is distilled 2.5 times and is lightly peated. And then Longrow is distilled 2 times and is more heavily peated than Springbank. So I'm going to be comparing Longrow, which is twice distilled, heavily peated, Campbelltown Scotch, which is funky as hell. And I'm going to put that up against, well, I have Glen Scotia 15, which is another Campbelltown Scotch, not nearly as peated. I guess I could throw in Springbank 15. We'll see if I want to do that. But I'm really here to try this Longrow 15 where, let's see, this is the sample sent by Lito. Thank you so much, Lito, for sending this. Let's check out this Longrow 15. Or Longrow 11 red, excuse me. Oh my goodness. That is incredible. So the Longrow 11 Pinot cask, you can smell the base spirit, the base funkiness, the smokiness of the Campbelltown, heavily peated Campbelltown from Longrow. But you can also smell all of that Pinot wine cask finishing in here. Tons of like those red fruit notes from the Pinot cask. But Springbank has like this tar, or it's almost like you're chewing on a dirty rope. Like that's the note I get on the nose. Like briny sea air, rope, light tropical fruits. But the peat in here in the Longrow 11, it's not taking the forefront. It's not the first thing you smell in this whiskey. It's all of that slightly tropical red fruit wine cask finish. And then you get all of the funk behind it. And the funk is not off-putting here. It's blended so well. And there's some nice oak in the back end. Oh, it's amazing. I'm going to taste this on the palate. Oh my goodness. There is green apple, pear, pineapple with red wine notes. And then you get into the peat. In the peat here is that Campbelltown funk from Springbank, which is like, it's not as medicinal as Lefroy by any means, but you do get a little bit of that, like, you get those briny sea air, beachy qualities combined with sweet barley sugars. And, like I said, tar and rope earlier, those are still notes that I would put to this. Like, just imagine what a ship at sea smells like. I know that's ridiculous, but that is what this Longrow 11 smells like. Campbelltown malts balance those insanely delicate briny sea notes with some of the mainland notes so well. The Isla Scotches take those briny notes and cover them in peat most of the time. The Campbelltown Scotches balance it, and they add this funky oak note. It's like you're chewing on a leather belt and like dried out rope on a ship out at sea. It's incredible. While you're drinking red wine. Hell yeah. I mean, it's like, how the fuck else do you talk about these whiskeys, though? Like, when you taste it, look, have I ever chewed on a freaking rope at sea and drank wine from, or like rum from a bottle? And no, I haven't done any of that shit, but like that's what it reminds you of. And the funkiness in here, there's no way to describe this funkiness except for when you taste it. And it's like, oh my God, it's like red fruits and citrus fruits that have turned but are still acceptable on your palate. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You know, some people, yeah. It's like George Clinton Funger. That's hilarious. I don't know. I don't know what the hell kind of funk it is. Arg. This Longrow is like the best balance of all of these funky notes. With all of that red fruit and tropical fruit in there. The only way to compare this, Longrow 11 red. Let me grab yet another glass and pour this Springbank 15. I'm going to pour the Springbank 15 before I go to the Lafroig, because Lafroig is going to blow the gates off of both of these in terms of the level of peat in there. All right, so here we have Longrow 11, Pinot finish. We're going to go to the Glen Scotia 15. Way lighter, hardly as much peat in this Glen Scotia 15. Okay, Glen Scotia 15 can't even be in the same tasting as this. I know I love Glen Scotia 15. It's really lightly peated, but this can't even be in the same tasting. So I have to just, I have to relegate that to the back there. All right. I'm sorry, Glen Scotia 15. All right. And yes, what's up, Hindo? I'm sorry I didn't call you out, but DC says, sup, Hindo. I know I need to say that. We were hanging out on Scott's stream on Tuesday night, and I was a little bit wasted, and that's okay. Not a great night for me. Nick says you better hydrate. Nick, I'm going to hydrate. Good friggin' call. I'm going to take some more emergency before bed. I always take emergency on my heavy drinking nights. In my mind, vitamin C helps me. I never got my hands on that Lafroig PX. Drives me crazy. Carlo, if you want a sample, send me an email. I will send you a sample of this. Absolutely, because it is pretty solid stuff. DC, you bastard. All right, so this Longrow is freaking incredible. Okay. And I think this is the Lafroig, right? Whoo, that's Lafroig. It sounds, it smells like a Band-Aid. All right. Longrow 11. Beautiful. Let's go to the Springbank 15, which is more lightly peated, but also more aged. 4 more years in the cask than the Longrow. Same distillery. Oh, that Springbank has way more tropical fruit, more pineapple on the palate. I would say 1/3 to 1/4 as much peat as the Longrow has, but the balance on the Springbank is incredible. All of those red fruits, tropical fruits, that light peat note, that incredible Springbank funk. I actually might choose the Longrow 11 over the Springbank 15 because I like that extra peat component. But the Springbank, if you don't have the Longrow in the same sitting, is amazing. So I can't choose a favorite between those. I have not tried that. I don't even know how to pronounce that. None? Noon? No, I have not. But if you have anything that's going to make me feel better after I drink a lot of booze, please tell me. Yeah, exactly, Nick. Oh, shit. I feel like I need this stuff. Carlo, let's make it happen. Let's make a solid sample trade happen. Oh, that sounds great. Okay. DC, it is time. Here we go. Lafroig PX cask. This is a travel retail exclusive. All right, autofocus. Let's get this together. Come on, autofocus. You're my friend. Let's go. There we go. All right. Lafroig PX, 48% ABV. This is from the London Gatwick Airport. The first maturation is in ex-bourbon barrels, followed by a transfer to quarter casks. The third maturation is in large European oak Pedro Jimenez casks, which originally contained rare Pedro Jimenez sherry. So, triple maturation here, 48% ABV. Peated as all shit, as Lafroig is. Let's see what we get. I mean, straight up, rubber tire and Band-Aid right off the bat. But not offensive at all. It's like if a rubber tire and a Band-Aid had a baby and then the baby grew up to be like at least 18, so nothing's weird. And then you said like the baby said, "Come here, let me show you what I got." And that's not even in a weird way. But it's like, let's see what's going on here with this rubber tire and Band-Aid baby. And it's sweet, light fruits, red fruits like raspberry and strawberry. There's not a lot of like caramelized notes for me to get from this. It's like lighter notes. Raspberry, strawberry, raspberry, like I said. Slight cherry, maybe. I'm going to take a sip and I'm going to nose it again. Oh my God. That's a great comment. Shit. It's not weird. Dodge Hellcat burn out on a pile of dead toads through a tunnel of burning Barbie dolls. Got it. That is hilarious. Oh my God, Nick, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it is like a freaking car like burned out. I mean, it really is. It's like that rubber note and that smoke and that burnt rubber note, you know? The medicinal thing of Lafroig is still there, that iodine Band-Aid thing. But this is so balanced out with those PX notes, the Pedro Jimenez sherry cask notes, those rich fruits, the lighter strawberry, cherry, raspberry, pomegranate type notes. Oh, it's amazing. DC, what do you get, man? What are you tasting on this one? Like, I know I can taste the red fruits. I can taste the medicinal, the peated things. I can't dive deeper because it is so strong on the traditional Lafroig notes that I can't get past some of that stuff. So like, what do you get on this? I'm curious if there's anything specific on those notes that you get besides the red fruits and the Lafroig influence. if you're still here, DC. Drums and Drams, can you get I cannot get Obtainium in Ohio. No, I wish I could. It is so freaking balanced, isn't it? There's actually, DC, I don't know if you agree with me, the barley sugar notes in this, like, I don't want to say confectionery notes, but you can taste the barley sugars in here. It's apparent that there is like sugary sweetness in this, and that helps balance out all of those iodine, medicinal type characteristics in here. It's great. If you're talking about these glasses, DC, what did you say? Goodyear, red fruits, Goodyear, slight tobacco. Yeah, absolutely. There is a little bit of campfire in here too. That's like the tire burn, like that's like the car burnout notes in the parking lot, But yeah, absolutely. I love this PX cask. I can't say enough about it. Okay. These glasses are, if you get on Amazon and you look up Highland nosing glasses, you'll find this on the short stem. They're not, I think it's called Highland nosing glass on a short stem, if I recall. But they're not that expensive. These are my favorite glasses. I would order just a 4 or a 6 pack and call it a day. But I love these things. They're really great. And they dissipate, like I said, they dissipate ethanol a little bit more and a little bit better than Glencairns. Glencairns, to me, funnel too much of it to my nose, and then I can't get as much of the aroma of that. So, for what it's worth. All right, so Longrow 11, Pinot cask, matured, here it is. Longrow Red, 11-year Pinot Campbelltown peated, 53.1. That was an incredible, incredible pour. So freaking balanced from Springbank. Oh my God. And then you go on to the Glen Scotia 15. Glen Scotia 15 is just too light on the nose. It doesn't compare to these more heavily peated, scotches from Campbelltown and Islay. I can't drink Glen Scotia when I'm going to drink a Springbank or anything else. And if I do, it has to lead up to those things. It cannot be afterwards. And then this, the Lafroig, the Band-Aid, the rubber tire, Goodyear, as DC put it, red fruits, campfire, slight tobacco. That's a good end of the night sip. Oh, incredible. DC, I could see raisin. I could see it. Absolutely. Especially in the finish. As it dries out, it makes a lot of sense to think of that as a raisin. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been 2 hours and 6 minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I'm thinking I'm going to call it a night unless anybody has any special requests or any questions. Otherwise, I'm probably going to bail out of here and get my ass to bed because I've had like 10 or 12 pours tonight. So if you have any requests, comparisons, side-by-sides based on the list that is in the description of this YouTube video, feel free to call them out. Otherwise, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna sleep a little bit. And 3 p.m. on Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, I will be live to do a little comparison of Elijah Craig toasted barrel and barrel proof blends, 5 different ratios of blends to see, what makes the most sense. How can we beef up Elijah Craig toasted barrel with barrel proof to make it a better experience and less watery? So anyways, Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Carlo, let me check that real quick before I get off here, just to make sure, I have it. I'm not an idiot here. Carl, I got it. I will hit you back tomorrow when I am less drunk, more sober. Lone Wanderer 360, good times. Thank you so much. Thanks, DC. Nick, fuck off. No Davies bottle. Peter, cheers. And sounds cool. See you Saturday. Thanks, and hell yeah, guys. Last pour of the night, Lafroig PX cask for DC. Thank you, DC, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Like the video, sub to the channel, tell your friends about it, and Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to do 60 to 90 minutes tops of this new Elijah Craig Toasted and Barrel Proof blend. So thank you all so much, and it's been a blast tonight. I will see you on Saturday.